Hello, I'm attorney Dan Scott, and I do a lot of bankruptcy work and probate work and then general litigation. This is the second in the series of videos on the mediation process. What is a mediation? The last video, video number 1, I talked about what is a mediation. For this video, video number 2, I'm going to talk to you about how does a mediation work. Just remember that the purpose of a mediation is to allow you to have control of the results of your case, really the resolution of your case. You and the other party can resolve the case together if you can come to an agreement that you will both agree to, right? And so you avoid the trial, you avoid the cost of trial, you avoid the risk of trial, and often you avoid the delay of trial. Because you can do a mediation pretty much anytime the parties feel like they understand the case and how the facts are going to play out, how the proof will play out at the trial. Usually you're going to do mediation after depositions are taken, after written discovery is taken, because the lawyers, in order to advise you, have got to have that discovery in order to say, well, here's the way I think the proof will come in. Because from your perspective, you're trying to figure out, well, what's my strong part of my case, and then what's the weak part of my case, okay? Now, many people believe there is no weak part of their case, but can I tell you this, after practicing law over 35 years? Every case has a weak spot. Every case has a weak spot. So don't assume your case doesn't. So that'll be about when it's going to happen, and so your lawyer will likely suggest it. Remember that in a divorce, every case goes to mediation before you go to trial, and so it's required by statute or by local rule to do that. At least that's the case in Tennessee. And so the lawyers will generally agree on who a mediator is going to be, and it'll be what's called a Rule 31 mediator, somebody that's been certified, truly, went through 16 hours of training. Not a huge deal to get certified as a trainer, primarily, or as a mediator, primarily lawyers, because nobody else is really interested in it. And so they understand the law generally, and they know the judges, and they say, well, I kind of think I know the way this judge would see that, because one of the things that mediator is going to do is try to talk truth to you. I mean, he or she is going to talk to you about what's going on, what will go on when the case goes to trial. Because again, the idea is you want to minimize the risk of going to trial and be in control of the case yourself, okay? So what will happen is a mediation is set up. You're going to go to an office, normally a lawyer's office. It's seldom your own lawyer's office. And sometimes you both are in one room together, a conference room together at the beginning. Sometimes it's not. It really just depends on the mediator and depends on the parties. Oftentimes the mediator says, look, you've got good lawyers. They can explain it all to you. They don't need me to explain it. Sometimes it's important to be together so that each of the lawyers gets to make an opening statement so that how they see the case. It may be the first time that the other lawyer has heard how this lawyer sees the case. It definitely is probably the first time that the other party has seen how this lawyer sees the case. But it's not required to do that. You're really just trying to figure out how to set the stage, okay? Sometimes you don't start out together. Sometimes you start out in separate rooms. Whether you start out together or not, you will end up in separate rooms. And the reason why is the mediator has got to talk candidly to you. The mediator's sole job is to try to help you understand the case better, help the other side understand their case better, and help you come to an agreement. This, in the adversary process we have that is litigation, this is the only time the real goal is to come to agreement, okay? And so that's what the mediator is going to do, and somebody's got to make the first offer, right? And, I've been to a mediation, and the other side didn't want to make an offer, and the mediator came to me and said, look, will you guys make the first offer? And my client said, no, I don't want to. It's a sign of weakness. Well, let me tell you, it's not a sign of weakness. Somebody's got to make the first offer. In a mediation, understand, it doesn't matter where you start. All that matters is where you end. Because in almost every mediation, they don't take the first deal, right? That's why I say it doesn't really matter where you start. And so what will happen is you and your lawyer get a chance to talk to the mediator, explain here's where we think our case is, we think this is what the judge or the jury will do, this is what we need out of the case. And now, one nice thing about a mediation is you can fashion your own deal. And so you can get things in a mediation that you could not get in a trial, right? One of the values of mediation. Now, not in every case. I'm just talking about there's some unique things that you can do in a mediation, okay? And so you're going to talk to the mediator. Somebody's going to make an offer. Let's assume you're going to make the first offer. That mediator then is going to go back and talk to the other side. He's going to talk truth to the other side just like he talked truth to you. What I have found in mediation is the dynamic is that no lawyer gets to beat their chest any longer. And now we're talking what I say, we're talking truth, right? The mediators, Dan, you beat your chest about how strong you are, how good you are, and all that stuff. I'm here to tell you that this is where your case is, right? The mediator has no interest in the case other than trying to get you to an agreement. And so you'll go back and forth, trade offers, have discussion. Sometimes mediations last a long time. I had a mediation that started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it didn't get done until after 10:30 at night. But we settled a substantial case. Normally mediations don't go that long. Usually mediations will go somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. 3 hours is about an average, right? Because it takes a little while for you to get to where you're saying, well, if I could just do a little bit more, I might close this case up. And I've settled cases in mediation that I never thought would settle before. And so if there is an agreement, then what happens is usually there's a handwritten agreement, right? There's a handwritten agreement. Everybody signs it, and you leave with a handwritten agreement. And most often the lawyers draft a formal agreement. Everybody signs it, and then the court, then you put down an order that says the case is resolved based on this mediated agreement. Now, one last thing for me to tell you about the mediation that you'll know when I'm talking about how it happens is what happens in the mediation can never be told to the judge, right? Because, you're wanting to talk about, you want to be able to tell straight up stuff that you might not want the judge to know, right? And that's just the way it is. And so the judge is not going to know that you offered $60,000 and they offered 10, or you offered to take 100 and all they offered you was 10, right? Judge is never going to hear that. And that's the beauty of a mediation. That's a good thing, okay? Well, I hope this dispelled some myths or gave you a little understanding, a baseline to understand how a mediation works. A lot of details I could go in, but I don't want to make the video so long you won't watch it. I hope it was helpful. If you're on YouTube, would you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? If you're on Facebook, like the post. If you know somebody that's going through a divorce, I can tell you that they're going to go through mediation. Share this video with them. Help them understand, here's the way this is going to work. Their lawyer may explain all this to them or not, I don't know, but this is something that you can send them and do them a favor. They'll thank you for it. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notification that I did a new video. And remember, this is video number 2. We got video number 3 and video number 4 coming your way. And so I'll see you then.